Hey, welcome back. In this video, we're going to see how to add a camera to the scene and some of the settings in it. So basically, we will use the camera for rendering purpose. So if you want to render a final output, we will use the camera. And now in order to create a camera, just we need to press Shift A and just we need to go to this camera option and click on this. And see now it has been created a camera and just we can grab it. So just we can move around. And if you want to scale, you can scale it. So it doesn't matter, means like it will not affect the view of the camera when we scale it. And now after creating this, suppose if you want to see through the camera, because if you want to adjust this camera in this perspective view, it will be very hard for us. Means like we will not able to see what we are going to view from the camera. So now in order to view through camera, just we have to select the camera and we have to click on this option, toggle the camera view. Now we are seeing through the camera here. But suppose if you again orbit, see now again we are going out of the camera view. Basically we want to control it when we are in the camera view. So in order to do that, just first we need to go to the camera view. And suppose if you want to orbit the scene by using this camera, so just we need to open a settings. Suppose if you press N for name, so you can see you will get a transform options. And here you can see there is an option called view. So if you click on this view, here you can see there is an option like camera to view. So we need to click on this now. And now you can see if you orbit, so actually we are orbiting the camera. And this will be the easy way for us to control the camera. So just we'll like zoom in, zoom out. So let's say now I want to focus this. Basically, we will use the same controls to zoom in, zoom out the camera for panning. So suppose if you middle mouse click and drag, so we can orbit. And if you shift middle mouse button, we can pan. So we can hold control middle mouse button. So we can zoom in, zoom out. And now what the thing is, suppose if you want to unlock this camera, because suppose if you have fixed this position of this camera, so laterally what the thing is, we have to uncheck this camera to view, but because suppose if you are enabling this by mistakenly, sometimes again we will orbit and just we will change the positions of the camera here. So in order to avoid that, just untick this. And now you can see we can orbit. And whenever we want to go to the final view, so just we can select the camera and just we can click on this option here, just so that again we will go back to the camera view. And also we have shortcut to directly jump back to the camera view. So just suppose if you press 0 in the numpad, directly we will jump back to the camera view here. And we'll see some of the properties in the camera. So just we can select this camera. And here, if you want to go to the properties, here you can select this option like object data properties. So if you click on this, now we are in the camera settings. So here we will have some of the settings like focal length. So if you increase and decrease the focal length, so you can make it kind of like wide angle. If you want to make it zoom in, you can make it, you can increase the value of this thing here. And also here we can rotate the camera by using this Shift X, Shift Y. So see now it's focusing towards the other direction here. And next down, you can see there is an option like depth of field. So suppose if you enable this, what we can do is like, suppose if you want to focus any object which is nearer to the camera. I will show that. Like for example, if you create any object, let's say Shift A, and if you create any mesh like cone or something. So suppose if you select this cone, now see I have created one object which is closer to this camera here. Now what the thing is, suppose if you want to focus this object and if you want to make the blur in the background of these models here. So in order to do that, just we can select this camera and we have to enable this depth of field here. So there will be no changes for it. We have to do some settings here. What the thing is here, you can see there is an option like focal distance. So we can increase and decrease the focus distance. But now what the thing is, suppose if you want to focus this object and if you want to blur this table chair in the background. So here we can use this eyedropper. So we can select this and we can click on this object so that now the camera will focus onto this object and the background will make it blur. So in order to do that, we need to come down and we have to make some settings. And for example, suppose if you come to this aperture, here you can see there is an option like f-stop. So suppose we have to decrease this value. So let's say now see, so slowly the background has been blurred here. So still we will decrease this. Let's say we'll put it to 0.02 or something. So see, now it's focusing onto the cone and the remaining objects are getting blurred. So see now, suppose if I put it to 0.05 or something. So it depends on your scene here, how much you want to make the blur in the background. You can put that value here. And suppose if you want to focus this table and if you want to blur this object which is in front of this camera, so what we can do is we can close this, and again we can pick this. For example, if you pick this, and now you can see now the cone has been blurred here. So suppose for example, like if I put it to 0.01 or something, see now you can blur the nearer object and you can focus onto the background here. So in this way, we can change the blur according to your requirement. Okay. For time being, I will delete this cone here. So we can delete, and just in camera, just we will disable this depth of field here. So in this way, we can create the camera. So in the next lesson, I will show you how to render the final scene. So see you in the next lesson.